You could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around, but you could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me. Could be alone with you. Just wanna be alone with you. I could be alone with you. Hey, I could be alone with you. Just wanna be alone with you. I could be alone with you, with you. You could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around, but you could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me.
Good morning. It's morning. It's very early morning. Good morning, good afternoon. What's the other one? Good evening. How are we all? Hopefully we're doing alright. I think I've had like 3 hours sleep. So hopefully you guys can hear me. They just got the intro running. They had they've got the gentleman talking from Flight Expo, so we'll cut over soon. But yeah, if you just want to chitty chat in the chat, have a chat to me, and I'll give you my reactions of what they're talking about. But if you guys choppy sound already, really? All right, one sec. How's that? Does it sounds better now? Just let me know. We really need to get our stuff sorted with that. If it sounds good, what we'll do is we'll cut into they're just doing the intro at the moment, talking about what's going on. It's like the longest intro for 90 minutes, but you know, happens. Hopefully no drop bears crash. 5x5. Cool. So I don't know, I've just set this up in the last 3 minutes, so I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not, but we'll see what happens. So, but anyways, cut the music off and just let me know that you can hear Evan. I think it's Evan talking. I haven't had any coffee yet either, so be gentle. Be gentle.
If you've won, unless you opt in for more, and we want to ask for your name, and that could be a name, it could be a username.
Let me know if you can hear Evan. Also, they're doing prizes on here, so watch what's going on, because you can enter prizes and win stuff.
Whatever you want me to say, put that in the second question.
Fine, listening
when
and drinking.
When you go and submit that entry, you will be entered into our first round of prizes. Those are from Aerosoft, the winner's choice of a downloadable product.
Hello, Greenish. How are you, mate?
Just Flight, the winner's choice of a downloadable product.
So that's 5x5. You can hear Evan.
The Corsair from Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is a World War II fighter bomber product they came out with recently. From Orbex, there are 2 chances to win, and that'll be anything you want.
Oh, they're
from
going
the
for all
Orbex
the
Direct Store.
prizes.
And Tfti Design has also offered a prize of the user's choice. So there are 6 separate prizes in this first prize draw.
Pretty
and if
cool.
you don't win this time, there are lots more to go.
Oh, hey,
So
got
if you
Milviz
wanted
has
to
got
win
stuff
some of
in
those
there.
prizes
Just
and
got
throw your
stuff
name
in
in, Aerosoft,
Honeycomb.
Just Flight, Milviz,
Ooh,
Orbex,
Honeycomb,
Tfti
yeah.
Design, go to flightsimoassociation.com/contest.
Yeah,
Again, you do
Honeycomb,
not
yeah.
need to be an FSA member. We thank you if you are, but
Can
if
you
you
guys
aren't,
hear
that's
it okay?
fine too. flightsimoassociation.com/contest. Pop in your email address. Tell us what you'd like us
Into
to
the
call you
stream
if
raffle.
you
So
are the winner, and you'll be entered into
flightsimAviation.com
the
contest.
raffle. Now, I will say, very important, if you are the winner and I announce your name on the stream today, you will have 24 hours to claim your prize. I'm going to send you an email tomorrow. You have 24 hours from when I send you that email
grab that
to
and
claim
pop
your
that in the
prize.
chat? Flight
If you
simulations.
don't respond to that email, it is
I'll,
going to somebody else.
Copy
So
and paste
make
it for
sure
people
tomorrow morning,
who want
check
the
your
link.
email,
5x5.
check your
Oh,
spam
thank you,
filters.
Greenish, man.
If you
Cheers.
were announced as a winner, 24 hours is the time limit
Still
to
got the,
respond to my email and claim your prize, or
stream
it goes
hangover for the
to
last stream.
somebody else. So make sure you're checking your email from us. Again, once this is over, if you don't want to hear from us, we are absolutely not going to use your email for anything. It is just to let you know
Sounds
if
good.
you've
Thank
won.
you, Scott.
Other than if you choose to opt in, you have the option to do that. And of course, we will be respectful of your email and of your privacy at all times. So flightsimoassociation.com/contest, you can enter the raffle. Do that now, and we're going to be back in just a couple minutes to announce the winner of this first raffle in, again, just a few minutes as we go live. Thank you so much for being on today. We're very excited to be hosting the first ever, I think, cross-community panel discussion live with 6 developers moderated by Callum from FSLE. Huge thank you to him for being here, to Elise and the team at Orbex for partnering with us on this project. We hope you find it a lot of fun. We hope you're going to be able to watch it with a content creator or in your own community. We'll be back in just a few moments to go live, so stay with us. Put your name in that stream raffle, and we'll be back live at the top of the hour.
Oh, there we go, ladies and gents. Google Docs. Stream a raffle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Google Doc in the... Oh, too tired to type. Passed. Did do that right. Cool. There we go. That's how you enter the raffle, ladies and gentlemen. They're giving away heaps of stuff. It's 22:58 here in the Ukraine. How are you, Sam? Whoops. We did have the ability to ask one question, but I couldn't get myself organised. So we're just lurking. With 3 prizes drawn during the live webinar, you may be able to enter once per prize draw. Repeat entry to complete as required below. Your answer, name, your username. Russian techno music at 6 o'clock in the morning.
No, don't tell me.
Oh, I need coffee. Power nap? Yeah, it pretty much was a power nap. Simon, g'day mate, what's up? Not much is up. Did you have to enter? There will be 3 prizes drawn live. You may enter once per prize. So when do you enter?
Hello, good evening, good afternoon from from us here in North America. Good evening to those of you
pre-recorded.
joining us from Europe. Very good early morning to those of you in Australia joining Orbex, and hello wherever else you are watching the first ever live cross-community panel discussion on Flight Simulation Association in partnership with
Joseph.
Orbex.
How are you, mate?
Fly
Tim
July.
G'day.
Very excited to have
Pepsi,
panelists
what's
here
going
from
on,
across
sir?
the community talking all about the future of flight simulation. What does it mean that we have the console release coming up
Anthony,
in a couple of days? What's going to happen to existing platforms like P3D, X-Plane, Aerofly, and others? And what are things going to look like in the next few years in our hobby? We're talking about all of those things with panelists from across the community here in just a couple of moments. My name is Evan. I'm one of the two co-founders of Flight Simulation Association. We're over to those panelists.
Just let me know if it's not loud enough.
In a couple of moments. I want to take a second just to chat about what you can expect over the course of the next 90 minutes today.
What's going on?
We'll be starting off with a brief introduction from me, as well as the first of our 3 prize draws. We've got some amazing prizes, more than 25 giveaways happening over the next 90 minutes. Once the first prize draw is done, we'll go into 4 questions submitted from people across the community, magazines, news sites, content creators. We'll then come back for a quick break, give the panelists a moment to stretch, do the second of our 3 prize draws, answer 4 more pre-submitted questions, and if there's time, we'd love to get into questions submitted by the audience and our broadcast partners. Fingers crossed on that one, but I don't want to make any promises, because at 21:30 GMT, we are going live with our grand prize draw. There's going to be 13 more prizes at 21:30 that I'm going to announce, followed by the Honeycomb Alpha Flight Controls yoke. So stick around with us throughout the panel. Lots of opportunity to win some amazing prizes. And let's get that giveaway contest started right now. I see many people have already gone ahead and entered. If you have not yet entered, now's a great time to go to flightsamassociation.com/contest. Put in your information, your name, or whatever you'd like us to call you if you're a winner, email address.
Already
we
have
won't
a
use that
honeycomb?
email unless you want us to talk to you. And
there we go.
Go ahead and do that right now. You're going to have
Morning,
3
Brett.
separate opportunities.
Brett,
this is
what
the
are you
first
doing
one.
here? It's early.
Do it once. Don't do it 10 times. Don't do it 15 times. Do it once.
You can enter,
and then I'll let you know
once.
when you can go ahead and do that again for our next round.
Ooh,
While you're entering
okay,
the contest,
so you gotta go.
let me tell you about some of the broadcast partners
raffle.
we have today. We see this a lot in other parts of gaming and in other esport type activities, not so much in flight sim. We reached out to content creators. We said, look, I'm most certainly not a live streamer. Developers, they develop products. They don't really live stream. But you content creators do an amazing job. I'm constantly in awe of what you're able to do. So we don't want to be competing with you for people's attention. We want to work with you. And so we're really excited that you're helping us spread the word today. There's people on YouTube, Oz Flight Simmer, SimFlight Pro, Captain Bob Flight Simulation, Flight Sim Geeks, and Sizzling Popcorn. Thank you guys for helping us support Twitch.
Welcome.
I'm going to wave to you. I can't see you, but you can see me. I hope you wave back. Chewy94, Porter Learn to Fly, Mustafa, Two-Tone Murphy. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for supporting. And we really hope this is a community thing. We want you to be enjoying this with somebody, whether that's your virtual airline community, whether you're in TeamSpeak, whether you're watching on one of those channels I just mentioned. This is all about let's come together as a community for 90 minutes and have a chat. And hopefully you can react and chat and comment along with some of those content creators or whoever you love to hang out with in flight simulation. And please tell your friends about this. If this panel goes well and if folks enjoy this, we'd love to be able to get together maybe a couple of times a year, do a panel on hardware, do one on content creation. Maybe we can get some of the big simulator manufacturers out to talk with us too. So we'd love to do this a little more often. Please spread the word, share the link wherever you're watching this right now, wherever you can, and let's get some people involved and let's give away some awesome prizes. A couple of big thank yous here to Elise and the team at Orbex and Fly July for making this all possible. Thank you to them. Thank you to Callum from FS Elite, who's helped us with promotion, but more importantly is here in the hot seat of moderating, trying to keep us all on time and on track. And now, let me take you to the first of what is going to be 3 prize giveaways over the course of the next 90 minutes. My co-founder and colleague Phil has put together 6 names. These winners are going to take home, firstly, winner's choice of an Aerosoft downloadable product. That is going to, and I apologize because I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce some names here. We'll see how that goes. That's going to Grant. So Grant will talk about
Grant.
how you can claim that prize.
Congratulations to Grant.
Just Flight has donated a winner's choice of their product. That goes to Sizzling Popcorn, one of our broadcast partners. Awesome. Congratulations on the Just Flight product of your choice. Good time to pick up the Warrior maybe that just came out. Milviz has given away a Corsair from Microsoft Flight Simulator, that World War II era bomber, to Hishem underscore S92.
Absolutely.
We've got 2 Orbex prizes. Pick anything you want on Orbex Direct. Ethan and Heza737, congrats to both of you. And Tfti Design, winner's choice of a product goes to Fly Dr. Corvette. So congratulations to the 6 of you.
I think
those 6 people that I just named, as well as
website.
Everybody else who wins today, you're going to get an email from me today or tomorrow. You have exactly 24 hours from when you get that email to respond to it and claim your prize.
I think you've got 3 options though. They're going to do this throughout, so you have to enter again.
Check your spam filters starting tomorrow morning and make sure that you reply within 24 hours. There will be lots of more opportunity to get in on the giveaways in the next couple of moments, so stay with us all the way through today's presentation and we'll talk more about how you can do that. Let me now jump into one more thing before I hand things over to the panel, and that is our developer chat.
That's the giveaway link.
So we've got the developer chat happening today as well as the live panel. We've invited developers from across the community.
I think he lets you know when you need to enter it.
Be on video, they can hang out with you in the chat. So developers who are watching, say hello. Use this as your opportunity to connect with the community and share your perspective alongside those who are commenting
enter again
on the
now?
chat.
I think he lets us know,
Sam. Going. Callum, real big thank you to you for moderating today. I will hand over control for the next 45 minutes, and let's have a great show.
Evan, thank you so much for the introduction, and hello to everybody at home who is watching the first cross-community discussion. So my name is Callum, I am from FS Elite, as Evan has said, and today I'm going to be the moderator looking after all of our fine panelists today. So without further ado, we're going to go through each of them just so they can introduce themselves to those of you who are watching, and we're going to begin with Aerosoft.
Getting yourself a 970.
Hello. Good evening from Germany. I'm Winfried, CEO and founder of Aerosoft. Aerosoft is located at the airport of Paderborn in Germany. And Aerosoft is
must have done the videos for the CRJ's voice sounds familiar.
As well as the worldwide publisher of the Microsoft Flight Simulator Retail Box and Explain Retail Box.
Fantastic. So it's really fantastic to have you today, Winfried. Now let's head over to helisimmer.com. If you could just tell us your name, where you're located, and
Aerosoft. Yeah, they make good stuff.
Exactly what you do for the community.
Hey, thank you, Callum. Hey, everyone. My name is Sergio. I am the founder of helisimmer.com, a website dedicated to helicopter flight simulation, and I am in Portugal. It's really nice to be here with all of you. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure, as always, to have you on any panel, Sergio, and welcome. Now we're going to head over to Hype.
Hey, everyone. I'm Steve, co-founder of Hype Performance Group, new developers to Microsoft Flight Simulator for the Airbus H135 and Airbus H145 helicopters. Our team is multinational, but I am in Tampa, Florida, and we're just happy to be here.
They're bringing out the new A3
great community of developers.
Ruben, there's no flight plan.
Thank you, Steve, and welcome to
because we're not flying.
We're now going to head down under over to Orbex. If you could say hello, that'd be great.
Hi, my name is Anna. I'm the CEO of Orbex. I am located about an hour and a half out of Sydney. Our main office is in National Fields in Victoria, and we've got a team in the UK as well. So welcome to everyone.
I thought they were sort of mainly in UK now, but
it's 6 or 9 for me AM, which is probably better than some of the other guys here. We make scenery. We started off with airports.
Hey Paul, how you doing?
In 2006, and we've been
PG, how you doing?
Developing recently for Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've been doing other lines of products like cities. So we're definitely known for scenery more than anything else, although we're trying with aircraft a little as well. And thanks for hosting this, and looking forward to the panel.
Excellent. I think we all are. Thank you very much, Anna. It's great to have you on the panel. And now we're going to head back over to the States. We're going to have an introduction from Parallel 42.
Hayden, how are you, mate? Captain Pancake, what's going on?
Hi, everyone. Edson, Managing Director with Parallel 42, one half of the team. Hi, Kevin. We build very immersive products in P3D, and for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, we brought you the Sky Park and the recently announced Freedom Fox. Trent Palmer's
sorry guys, I've got
coming
Anna
soon.
blocked.
Based in Kansas City, Missouri, just across from KMKC, downtown Charles B. Wheeler Airport.
And that looks like Oz Flight Sim. I do apologise for that, but I've got to have put the cam somewhere. I get rid of the cam if you guys don't want the cam.
On any panel as well. And by no means least, last but not least, we have Tfdi design. And I promise you, I didn't put you last. It's just in alphabetical order.
Oh, it's okay. Now I know. Now, hello, I'm Colin. I'm the CEO of Invernix/Tfti Design. We are application and aircraft developers. You might know us for PAX and the 717, and now hopefully soon the MD-11. Soon. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for hosting us, and thanks for having us.
No worries, Sam.
And, and of course the location.
I keep the cam? All right, we'll keep the cam.
Yeah, your backgrounds are completely different.
Move it up to the logo.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, I don't want to move it around.
Panelists who are joining us today, we have a really action-packed 90 minutes, so we're just going to try and keep the pace going. I've got a bunch of questions that have been submitted by the community.
Let's see.
And we're going to really dive into some quite interesting subjects. So the first question we have is from FS Magazine. So I'm just going to read it out to you, and then we're going to jump in with some answers. So almost 1 year into the release since Microsoft Flight Simulator, of course that's going to come up. How has this new simulator impacted our community? Does this release change your view of how established simulators such as Aerofly, Prepared, or X-Plane has an impact on the platform? And finally, all within this same question, do you think you'll be able to continue to develop for multiple simulators at the same time, or do you think your plans in the future will move towards a more Microsoft Flight Simulator only future? And if I could hand that question over to Aerosoft to start the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, nobody expected.
There we go.
In 1990, a new flight simulator. So, of course, the announcement and the release of the Microsoft Flight Simulator had a very big impact to the whole community. It was a multi-million-dollar project with marketing budgets of which are higher than the turnover of most of the flight sim companies. So, of course, there was a big impact. And, of course, FSX and P3D are based more or less on the same old Microsoft Flight Simulator platform. And, yeah,
you can hear him okay?
New Flight Simulator as a successor.
Not much.
Is it correct? I hope so. Sorry for my English. Of the old Microsoft franchise. So, to be honest, I see for the next year that products for P3D and FSX will more or less disappear from the market. Aerofly.
Thanks, Willie.
It was always difficult because it was a local simulator with local sceneries. It depends on the development. They have some good ideas, but they have a very small team, and it will be very hard for them to get a market share beside X-Plane and Microsoft. Regarding X-Plane, yeah, we expect an upcoming X-Plane 12 sooner or later.
Ooh.
And of course, Aerosoft will support X-Plane in the same way we have supported X-Plane in the last years. So I see I feel it is necessary to have a second choice for flight simulation people. To say, okay, we have Microsoft Flight Simulator, but if you don't like things inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, there is a second choice. And I think that's very good. And of course, X-Plane is a simulator which is allowed to simulate professional
on a mobile device.
And Microsoft clearly said our simulator is a hobby simulator, and it is not allowed to use Microsoft Flight Simulator for professional uses. So X-Plane will always be a little bit more dedicated to professional pilots and to
I think, he's
really
outside.
strong, high-end community hobbyist pilots.
Absolutely. So I just want to take the discussion over to Anna, because you mentioned in your intro that you've developed for all of the simulators. Do you have any comments on what you think the future is for all these platforms?
I think that I want to anticipate too much of what's coming up, but the Xbox is also going to introduce a whole set of new audience. So we're really going to have a number of platforms that address the needs or the wishes of different kinds of users. So from my perspective, from Orbex, what in our roadmap, we definitely continue to develop for all of them. Now, Aerofly is a small market, so we've got a few products there. We haven't really done anything for a while, but we will continue to support the users for each platform, including P3D. So we're definitely not pulling out of that.
There you go.
Good. Anyone else want to jump in on this conversation?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, I agree. The choice is always best for the community. I think we will see the simulators continue to branch off and maybe specialize in some different type of characteristics that user base is looking for. So I think that's always going to be a great thing. And also the developers, especially us here, we're going to show up to where those communities are. If there's a user base there, no developer is going to completely abandon that platform.
So I want to just ask Colin then, just for a second.
I'm enjoying
so you're currently
Willie.
developing your MD-11, so for prepared. So where do you kind of see the market for yourselves at the moment?
So, I think there's always been a strength in portability. The MD-11 currently we have slated to come out for both MSFS, assuming that we don't hit any technical roadmaps, as well as P3D. I think eventually down the road, as Winfried said, it is possible that MSFS could become a successor to some of the sims we know now, but I just think there's certain limitations in the way, and that might not happen in the next couple of years. I might disagree there. So I think it's something we've seen in other industries where you've got PS4, Xbox, Switch, desktop, PC. You've got all these different platforms, and certain titles that become really well known work on all of them. I think that might end up being something that is brought into our industry a little more, where that portability is key to creating a compelling product.
Being P3D before it hits.
Very interesting. Edson, you were going to say something just a moment ago.
Yeah, I think there's space for overlap, right? So at that expo, we announced on stage the Sky Park, and it was to be exclusive to Prepare 3D. Little did we know that sitting in the bar later, we would see a video at E3 of 2020 being teased, right? And then radio silence, as we on the back end sat and said, well, where's the best place for the Sky Park? And so we brought it to 2020, right? A business decision, but also a decision for the best experience of our customers. I think that there's space for a company to have multiple portfolios, right? We have our P3D portfolio of tools. We've got our 2020 portfolio of tools, now expanding into aircraft and scenery as well. And there's room for that.
These guys have got the Freedom Fox coming out. That is actually official Freedom
We're
Fox.
still getting business development opportunities in P3D. It's not over yet.
Stay tuned. That'll be good, that one.
Yeah. This is not. Sorry, Colin. This is not the first time we have this conversation. If not at this formal level, which we are doing right now, but this is not the first time it happens, right? We have been hearing this for years. Every time there's a new version of a sim, well, first of all, we have the community saying, "Oh, look, it's going to kill every other sim out there." But the truth is that there is space, there is room for all of them. And the only thing that I think is really quite interesting in my perspective,
absolutely, Brett. Yeah, of
is
course.
the actual leap. Well, first of all, it's the fact that it was a complete surprise. Like Edson was saying, we were just hanging out on bars and talking to each other during Flight Sim Expo, and all of a sudden, bam! We were at the epicenter of everything that was related to flight simulation, and we had this huge bomb being dropped on us from E3. But I was saying that I think that the most interesting part of all of this, it's the giant leap that Microsoft Flight Simulator is actually taking in regards with the previous version. So I think that is
interesting for the different points of
actually
view.
rocked the boat more. And of course,
these are the guys who make all the third-party stuff. So
that Microsoft has put behind it, and the fact that it's coming to Xbox, etc. So I, from my perspective, not as a developer, but from someone that is working with developers, I think there's going to be room for everyone for quite some time.
There are things that you can do in P3D and X-Plane that you still can't do in 2020, and we won't be able to do for some time to come. So the runway is a very long one, and we'll see what happens at the end of that runway, right? But we're still early roll here. There's
Agreed.
still time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to come back to the whole community question at the beginning of what FS Magazine were asking. So I'm just going to go to you, Sergio, but what have you seen happen in the community since that announcement and kind of where we are almost a year since its release?
Well, one of the things that we knew that was going to happen, and that was something that right from the start we realized, because we know that Microsoft has the ability to do that and to play the marketing, play their marketing very well.
I think it is on a different market, Simon.
People coming into flight simulation or returning to flight simulation, because we had a lot of people actually returning to sims, people that completely abandoned sims for quite some time, and now they saw Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it was very interesting, and they thought it was very interesting. So we are seeing more people coming into flight simulation. But unfortunately, we are also seeing a bit of negativity in the community because of the fact that we are to have Xbox players with us now. And I know that this is something that all of you, and Hassan is laughing already, because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm sure pretty much all of you have seen this negativity in the community. We don't even have this version out, and we already have people complaining and being very critic and almost poisonous. Well, not almost. I think they are poisonous. They are being injecting poison into the community just because for some reason they see.
I'll be back in a sec, guys. I'm losing light because of the camera battery, so I'm going to make a coffee at the same time. Back soon.
I tend to agree on one side and tend to disagree on one side. And why do I agree and disagree? Because as with anything, when you increase numbers, you get more of the good and more of the bad. So are we going to see more bad things? Yes. But we are also going to see a lot more of good things as well. It's just a matter of trying to keep communities constructive, push them forth so that they are positive. That's the thing. And that's what I think that people like myself and other people that are spearheading communities need to be doing, so that everyone gets along and the experience with the community is just unbelievable and very good.
We all started somewhere. Imagine if we could have started with a $300 box instead of a $1,000 box. The market just grew.
Yeah.
I mean, the future is now much bigger than it ever has been for us.
I think that's exciting for everybody. It doesn't matter what, if you're a developer, media outlet, publisher, the fact that this community is growing is a phenomenal thing. And hopefully these types of panel discussions will give them that information as well. So we've talked a little bit about the Xbox already. Anna's mentioned it, Sergio's mentioned it. And the next question happens to come from Captain Bob, who asks about the Xbox release. So he asks that because the Xbox release coming out next week, it will be the first time that a flight simulator, like a proper one, has been available on a home console device, which ultimately means we're going to have a lot of gamers come and try this in possibly for the first time, and especially with the accessibility of Xbox Game Pass, where millions of people don't even need to buy the sim to be able to jump in and fly. So the question is for you, Colin, at TFDI. So what do you think about having these gamers on Xbox coming into the hobby and coming into the simulation community?
I think it can go one of two ways. I think if the technical requirements for us as a developer community to support it are there, and if we as a community foster the growth, I think it has the ability to, as you know, Sergio said, to bring in an enormous amount of people. And I think we should be doing everything we can to welcome them into the industry. You know, that means great things for us as a community and as developers. But I do think it has the potential to create what is almost looked at as another platform. So, you know, you'll have PC, Xbox, X-Plane. I think that could end up being that way too, depending on how it's implemented. But I think it'll be up to us to allow people to explore the interest and show them what flight simulation is all about, without having, like you said, without having to spend $1,000 on, you know, to get into it. That's a huge barrier to entry for a lot of people. You know, and flight, I'm going to say the awful G word, flight games have always been popular here. And I think kind of having that bridge between the flight game on an Xbox and the super hardcore desktop stuff that we do, you know, now, I think that's awesome to have. And I think it could be a bridge for a lot of people.
I'm with you. Look at a title like Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. So many people play Grand Theft Auto on a console, but then so many graduate into a PC. And that title has had a lifespan.
What did I miss?
That is just, I mean, it's on God mode. What are we, 10 years now on that title? And it's still fresh. It's fresh because a modding community keeps it fresh. People continue to build on that game, things to do.
We've got coffee
in the game, mods that keep people interested, role play in that game.
Yep.
Just, you know, that's what PCs allow people to do.
So,
you can't do that on a console. You can't mod it on a console, but on a PC you can. And so I agree. There's this path that people can take into this community. PC. And I think, and I'm going to put you on the spot. You are in a position where you're probably seeing the amount of quality freeware developers that are coming out and reaching these payware levels. I mean, the number of freeware developers that are out now is it's unbelievable. It's like FSX days back again.
Yeah, the world is a big place, and there is a lot to do. So I think I actually really like to see
Xbox community. Yeah, look how many new people we saw in like 2 hours last night.
You know, for scenery specifically, are actually flourishing. I think it's actually good for all of us because it just shows what you can do.
Come on, Aussies.
So there is no
early.
There is definitely no issue. I mean, we do freeware as well, and I actually think that having that higher quality is pushing everybody higher. And this is good for
Patrick.
Everybody.
How are you, buddy?
Is good for everybody, right? Because the consumer wins out of it. Wins because of the pricing. Wins because of the quality of it. I think that if I can just go back to the Xbox question, I actually think that the Xbox is going to bring flight simulation to as many people as possible, and it's going to make it accessible. And I think this is great. So I really, really hope that with the introduction of the Xbox, there will be people that never thought about it, but they also, you know, pick it up because they want to just explore stuff. We are all in lockdowns. You know, I don't know. Australia is in lockdown, you know, one after the other. So I don't know about you guys, but, you know, picking up your remote,
slight dig at the Aussie,
you know, picking up the controller and just go and see places that you've never been before. And that's why we want to make it realistic. We want to make it, you know, so realistic that it's like being there. And that I think is going to be the power of bringing a cheaper console into the house, and then it can become
Thanks, Willie.
You know, not just, you know, a gamer picking it up, but really sort of showing how big the world is and all of the fantastic things you can go and see. This is my hope that the Xbox is going to do. Really recreate the world in great detail and bringing it to everybody.
Marketplace is cheap.
I think this is the difference between what we've seen in the past.
We haven't seen the expensive stuff come out yet.
This is the actual experience. This is a like-for-like PC on a console experience for all these new people. So I'm quite interested. I'm going to head over to Aerosoft and just ask, people will want to download all these like airport packs and aircraft, like the CRJ, for example. How do you guys at Aerosoft feel about the Xbox? Oh,
yeah, that's good to hear, Brett. That's good. On mute.
Oh, we see.
He's frozen.
A big for flights. The entrance level into flight simulation will go from
The connection issue, I think so.
$1.
Yeah. He's on a mobile phone.
PC and the software.
Connection still affected after floods. Probably, yeah. They've had a lot of trouble over there.
Connection problems.
Yeah.
Down to buy a new.
Yeah, Caleb, if I could, I just had I did have one comment I wanted to make. Oh, sorry.
So it is 1/3.
Yeah, I think let's just move for just a moment. Yeah, Steve, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing, obviously
German internet's just bad.
Community growing with the influx of the Xbox players. I think the only way this can be
better when he was outside. That's probably why he was outside, but now it's too dark.
That's really the only way this could turn out negatively. Anna brought up a great point of how it's already causing developers to think about this new influx of players, and we've even seen this from Asobo, which they're bringing these benefits that are going to benefit even the PC players in terms of the performance and also just making it a more accessible experience.
Performance plus update's going to be bomb after mucking around on Xbox yesterday.
Kind of an opportunity that's going back for many years, where even maybe real life pilots have always kind of maybe looked down upon on the flight simmers. So now we have this situation where now flight simmers are looking down upon these Xbox players, where really, hopefully the idea is that they come in, they get a warm welcome, they graduate the PC maybe, and then maybe someday they even graduate to the actual real life aviation field. So I think we just all need to keep a positive outlook and do our best to receive them.
Definitely.
Amen.
Here's a bit of a curveball for you all. Do you think it's about time we stopped saying the word game in such a negative connotation? Because every time you see that in a comment section, or you're going to get loads of comments now. You can't call this a game. And Colin mentioned it. Ultimately, it's on a gaming console. So
it's a simulator on a gaming console.
Hate on the word game when we talk about flight simulation.
I think we're 20 years late. That is something you guys know that, and Essa knows that as well. That's something that myself and some other simmers like
Brett, you're gonna get banned.
We actually bring it very often to the table. It's just call it whatever you want, because you can use it in wherever way you want. So, is it again? Do you need it? Do you need to call it a flight simulator to boost your ego somehow, something like that?
It's called Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's the thing. So it's a sim.
Look, there was a time where pilots could say, "Look at you, you're sitting at a desk flying an airplane." Well, the future is, look at you, you're laying in your bed flying an airplane.
That's
you're
true.
Leaning on the couch flying an airplane. The time is now. I mean, it's a game, and if somebody wants to correct it to it's a simulation, cool.
That was the response I expected, to be honest.
Somebody had to ask.
So there is
I'm gonna get flamed.
I think we probably are already anyway. But moving on from that, because I don't want the comments to explode and stuff on that comment anyway. So there was a follow-up one to the Xbox stuff. Now, I don't think any of us are going to know the answer, so this is going to be quite a good discussion point. But,
Jerome, that's me, the guy that's actually hosting the stream.
The Xbox Series S is £249. I don't know what it
you
is.
You can go and watch it. There's other people
and
restreaming it if you want to watch it somewhere else.
So, like you were mentioning earlier, super affordable. And from the videos, the very few videos that we've seen so far, performance seems fairly stable for those more intense areas. But do you think that people will use this as an opportunity to get into the sim nice and cheap and get it running, but then use their Xbox for adding like home cockpit type of builds and stuff like that through the console? Or do you think people will stick to the PCs for the whole home cockpit side of things? Let's start with you then, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I'm thinking of myself because I, first and foremost, I am a user in the sim world as well. And for me, I think of like the whole building up the home cockpit. I put that on like the hardcore simmer level, not so much like the person who's just getting in, because at that point where you're willing to invest the money into a home cockpit, I think the
like
first thing
his
you want to
t-shirt.
do is invest in the the high powered PC as well. But a lot of this is kind of speculative too, until I actually could see this Xbox version for myself, because I know they've said no compromises, but it seems like it's black magic, right, for them to get this down to such a smooth experience on the console hardware. So yeah, I think there's a lot of unknown there. I mean, I think the biggest thing though, to your point, is just getting these people in and kind of letting their creativity flow. I'm sure there are going to be some people who will use the console as kind of the centerpiece of these home cockpits, but I don't know how big the adoption of it will be.
I mean, I guess you have to define what home cockpit is, because for some people it could be just having, keyboard and mouse, or it could be having the full experience.
Like we were talking prior to going live about the Turtle Beach, that hardware looks incredible, for something so kind of affordable, just plug and play.
Yes, looking forward to the Velocity
Absolutely.
one.
Yeah, that's one of the questions, Callum. First of all, you need to define what is it that a home cockpit is for you. Because a home cockpit can be something as simple as having a couple of monitors, a yoke, some pedals, a panel, or something like that, and you're set. And that's the first thing that you need to understand. And the second one is how far does the Xbox allow you to add other type of hardware? We know that a couple of pieces of hardware, well, perhaps more than a couple, are already being developed.
I don't think there's any representatives from Microsoft, though. Sure.
But how far are hardware developers going to be into the Xbox and bring their stuff into, make it compatible with the Xbox as well? Because a lot of these has to do with hardware. Or even, can I get any data from the Xbox externally so that I can build my own hardware? Because a lot of cockpit builders actually make their stuff, right? And they make their stuff because the sim allows them to get data to and from the actual PC, the actual computer, the software. So I think those are the three main things that we need to understand in the future, because if the hardware handles everything as, at least Microsoft is telling that is going to handle, if we have enough hardware, outside hardware, external hardware to use it, and if people can get this data or send this data into the sim, there is a lot of potential. It's completely different for you to actually spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a computer, or $250 or even $400 or $500 on a console. So we need to be able to get the answers for these three questions first.
Yeah, my coffee table has a lot more real estate than my desk.
Someone's bragging.
Surround myself with hardware on my Xbox.
Before we move on, does anyone else have any comments about the Xbox release or hardware? No, I take that as a no.
I'm interested to see how many people are developing for Xbox.
Who here
you found
in
one?
this panel, who has an Xbox and is ready? Okay. Okay.
Oh, here he comes.
Show of hands.
In Australia, we're short of vaccines and Xboxes, it seems.
Yeah.
Oh,
interesting show of hands.
I tried. They are out of stock within 100 miles around me.
I might have a hookup.
Okay, we'll have to link up after.
And that's the interesting thing, though, is people can't get Xboxes. Yeah, we've got an Xbox. I've had the Xbox for like 6 months getting ready because I knew they'll be hard to get.
Just on the punchline.
right?
Suspense.
Dan.
What we'll do,
just get in the
we'll,
Aerosoft
during the
corner.
break, we'll try and get the connection back, and then we can quickly just cover that, what he wants to say about the hardware, because I'm sure it's going to be interesting from Aerosoft's perspective.
I have a recommendation. If somebody
be
can
back.
just pass this on, perhaps he could go no video so that it uses less bandwidth. We'd love to have his audio, you know?
Lovely. I think Evan's going to try and help
First
us out
GPU,
there.
then Xbox shortages. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's the world we live in
so
now, isn't it?
I just want to move on because we can't spend this entire panel talking about Microsoft and the Xbox. There are still other simulators out there, as we've discussed earlier. So this question is slightly different, and I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation. So the question is, what impact does piracy have on our community? And I think we'll take that over to Sergio to begin with as kind of the community representative here, and then we can see what the developers think of that as well.
Oh, I'm so glad this comes out on a panel and we are able to talk about it, because it's very important that our community is aware of piracy and the damage, especially because a lot of I think that very often people still don't understand that, even though we're not talking about, and it's funny that Winfried was telling me earlier off the record about
Xbox will make
about
flight
the
sim
fact
more
that
accessible.
hardware is harder to pirate, obviously. But we do get the notion that, well, if you go into a store and you just, you grab some pedals and you leave without paying, that's stealing. And people understand that's stealing. If you just copy someone's software, an airplane, an add-on, whatever, copy and paste it and bring it home or send it to a friend or something like that without him paying for him to use something that he should be paying because it's payware, people tend to see it as something in a gray area. It's not exactly stealing. It's not the same as grabbing those pedals,
that's
the physical items, and
that's
going home without paying. And I think people need to understand that it's as much stealing as grabbing that physical item and bringing it home without paying. It's not just a matter of stealing. You are hurting the developers. You are hurting the companies that do this. And a lot of the times, for some reason, I don't know where this comes from, but people are against the fact that some people out there, some companies out there are,
E3, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
For profit.
Yep.
Which is kind of normal because people tend to want to put food on the table, right? And that's how they put food on the table. Some people are lawyers, some people are doctors, some people, some work on whatever stores, and these people that are behind companies, just such as yourselves, that's how you pay your bills. That's how you make money to pay rent and to put food on the table. And by stealing them from their goods, by distributing these goods instead of getting others to buy it,
really, there's forums and stuff.
Their profit. You are actually reducing the amount of money that goes into their companies, so they are making less money. And if this doesn't bother you from the humane side, you are taking away money from people. Just look at the other people in this panel. Just look at their faces. There are people just like you and me. And if that's not enough for you to understand that it's wrong to steal from other people, well, just be selfish and think that if you are not giving these companies the money that they need for them to continue to operate, some of them will eventually give up developing products or stop supporting the product that you already bought, or they are not going to do the next version of that piece of software that you love so much, because there is no reason for them to continue to do so since they are not getting the money. Okay. Yes, these are businesses. Yes, these are for-profit companies. This is what they do. They have decided to follow a passion to bring you and to bring me the products that we all love to use. Fortunately, this is something that the community is very aware. I've seen this in a lot of groups, people asking for links to get free versions of software, and people just telling them, go
really,
buy,
Brett, that's interesting.
And give them the links for the stores so that people can actually purchase the products. And very often, when someone tries to insist or someone joins the bandwagon, and goes into, oh, PM me, I can get you a copy, these guys are usually banned from the groups. So fortunately, we do have a big awareness from the community, and people are really active, and they actually get to moderators and tell us that this guy is trying to.
I think the software stealing's peaking back up again
so
because of
there is a lot of awareness
the
in the community,
popularity.
and I'm really happy
I said that correctly
happens.
of Microsoft
Piracy
Flight
is not a
Simulator.
joke. Piracy really hurts companies,
Sort of
and it hurts business.
coming back.
And it hurts the community down the road. Sorry, I'm just way too passionate. I could be the whole 90 minutes talking about this.
I mean, yeah, there's obviously some developers within this group as well. So I don't know, Anna, do you want to kind of go from a developer's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, kind of Sergio touched on all of the points. There's not a lot more to add to that. I do think that I just want to maybe use slightly different language to the profit thing. And this is probably more from my perspective. The profits for us get invested in to make products better. So this is not about getting rich. We're not getting rich on it. I don't think anybody here is really getting rich on it. For us, really, we transform Orbex into a company that is giving full-time jobs to people, and you kind of have to pay them, and you want to pay them enough so they, continue to do it and they don't go and do something else. And so I actually think that the piracy is really hurting, maybe even firsthand, those people that are actually trying to have a full-time job doing something they really like, instead of doubling up being, a school teacher or a doctor or lawyer or something. I don't know any lawyers that do development, frankly, but they probably make enough money being lawyers, actually. But if you have another job, and then, offline, you kind of do, you do development.
But
so
Brett's right. It is around,
really
and it does happen.
Is hurting most of all, and I would steer away from this idea that we are kind of, super commercial and we try to make lots of money out of it, because it's just not true. In fact, what we're trying to do is make our prices. You probably have noticed that Orbex has made its prices a bit lower on the Microsoft
I have noticed.
platform, trying to get the volumes out of it so that we actually pay off for the products. And I can tell you lots of our products, maybe, the investors in my company wouldn't be happy to hear this, but a lot of our products actually don't even break even. But so why do we do them? Because we think it's a good thing to do, right? It's like sometimes you make a movie and you don't make any money out of it, but you think it's a good thing to do. And so we continue to do this because I believe that the better the simulator becomes, the more people it will attract. So I think eventually we will create a larger group of people that are, accessing the simulator, and the
that's one thing I've noticed, that the pricing in the marketplace
really
is cheaper than what we've seen across the board. Microsoft Flight Simulator, for flight simulation, it's so much cheaper. The DC6,
with the journey, right? I mean, we all probably worked for someone else before having the incredible opportunity to work for ourselves. And, I'm happy and very proud that I get to call it my full-time job, right? Having left Silicon Valley. Anna, you remember the journey for me personally, for Parallel 42 personally. Yeah, we were the first third-party partner in the Orbex store, and we came with an idea, a concept, a plan, and the rest really is history, and we are where we are today. And we're proud to be able to call this our full-time job. But we can really only do that with that community support, right? Because it is a business. We have to eat. I have to pay rent.
Hey, Becky.
We need internet to be on these calls. But I've got a very interesting other perspective. We also don't spend too much effort. I don't know if lamenting is the right word for this, but over piracy, because I'll be frank, I spent many of my childhood years in a third world country, and I know what it's like to be in a country where you cannot go out and buy a legitimate DVD of anything or a legitimate CD of anything.
That's interesting.
And there isn't enough bandwidth to download anything. Everything is piracy. Retail stores are piracy.
Perspective from Edson.
Printed covers, catalogs on catalogs, walls filled. Microsoft Flight Simulator, absolutely. Orbex collections, Aerosoft collections. I
don't think it's a cat. I think it's a dog.
But that's what life is like in those countries, right? Shout out to Bolivia and the people watching. So we just kind of understand that it's going to happen. We understand that it's going to exist. So we do the best that we can to kind of slow it down, but then we just keep moving forward without spending too much energy on it. To be very honest, that's been our stance at Parallel 42.
I called retail pirates.
On a kind of piggybacking on that, our approach at TFTI has always been kind of very similar. We don't spend a ridiculous amount of money or effort on DRM. We have it. We have DRM. But I think the easiest is maybe the wrong phrase. One of the main ways we focus on DRM is trying to remind everybody that we're people. And I know we've talked about that a lot. I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but I think that is the number one thing that people forget. Now, I don't know of anybody in this industry that is like, oh yeah, look at my Lamborghini. That's not all the discussions I've had with, the people on our team and with partners is we want to offer full-time jobs. We want to give careers to people doing what they love. We all want to create these products that we are excited to play and see and fly or whatever it is. That's the motivation. And as long as you think about, hey, I'm taking from that person, not some nameless, faceless company somewhere, I think that's the thing.
That's
the
as
human
well
factor.
Our idea. We have seen most of the people using piracy copies are not customers, and they will not become customers because they are kids or they are living in
Aerosoft
countries
speaking.
where it is not possible to download things and so on. So if you have, let's say, 1,000 piracy copies, perhaps 20 or 30 of them might become customers. The rest would never become customers. So there is not such a big loss for the developers.
Some really interesting points. I just want to involve Steve in this conversation. So if you're not already sure, just to catch people up to speed. So Steve, you've made a freeware for Microsoft Flight Simulator and you're heading into the payware market. So could you talk a little bit about some of the development
they have that
process
factored in
that
to their cost of their product though. You'd have that factored in that
is required to be able to get a product to like a
some
payware
of it's going to be used as piracy. Like you'd factor that into your pricing, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. The big thing I would even start off with, even before jumping into that, is what Sergio and Edson both kind of mentioned, which is outside of the human element of us as developers, also think about the impact on the development of products for the simulator. I think some developers are a lot less likely to take risk either with their careers like Edson did, or even with the products that they develop if there's that big risk of piracy there. So in terms of your question though directly, that move from freeware to payware, the big thing is, like Sergio said, you have to put food on the table, and if there's only a certain plateau of quality that you can get to with freeware. Our team burnt ourselves out probably for 3 months straight creating the freeware. We all have full-time jobs, come home from that, come home to our families, sacrifice family time to put that hours into the freeware project. So now with going payware, we have the resources where maybe we can take a lower job, or maybe we can quit our jobs altogether as long as the results are there. So that's really, that's why I say it really hurts the community more than anyone. Like, of course it hurts us, but we can all go and find another job in Silicon Valley, go work at a tech company, whatever, but it hurts the community more because you're going to lose that talent if you're driving developers out of the community due to piracy.
Thank you very
much. Maybe they should have made his donation where Willie.
Break, was there anything else anyone wanted to touch on that subject?
I think the community should, or the developers should really tell the community how difficult.
He's cut out again.
We were doing so well there for just a second.
We'll get that sorted after We'll get that sorted after the break. So it's coming up to 5-2. I'm going to hand the reins back to Evan now, who's going to introduce the break, and we'll be right back for the
All right,
next
guys. So they're going to do competitions again. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go and enter the comp.
Stuff so far, really interesting conversation, and I promise to get you back there as soon as possible. But we're going to do another opportunity for folks to win some prizes, and in the background, we'll give Callum and Winfried the chance to try and help get ourselves ready to go again on the live stream and getting his audio all sorted out. So great time to enter our contest now at flightsimassociation.com/contest. We've had over 400 people enter the first time around. This is your second opportunity. So if you have already entered, enter again. And if you are entering for the first time, that's fine too. We are going to be drawing 8 prizes in about.
We got 8 prizes on this one.
Now,
I'll keep
so
putting. I'll spam the link a little bit.
I will just speak to Aerosoft briefly. This is a huge thank you to Winfried, who's doing this from a Saturday night on vacation because he's helping to backfill for Matthias, who was originally on today's presentation. We've got some connection issues with the Wi-Fi that's available there, so he's doing this as a little bit of a favor to us. He's got some great insights.
I wish you a lot of luck, but no success.
At least his audio back, and that's what we're going to try for the second half and the next sort of 35 minutes as we get going. So we appreciate Winfried filling in, and if we can't have him today, we'll certainly have him back on in a future panel. So let me go back and let's do our second round prize draw.
Nick,
here
how are you, mates? Welcome.
The live panel. This prize draw has
Jeez, they don't get you long to enter.
Prizes from some of the
Click
organizations.
The link. You only have to put in your email address and your username.
Text, starting with, as they would say, NZA Simulations, or NZA Simulations as we would say here, and that is a Nelson scenery in South Island, New Zealand, with 9,000 hand-placed objects,
hey, Peter.
50 custom buildings.
G'day, mate.
That's going to C.A. So congratulations to you. Hype Performance Group has donated their H145 early access bundle from Microsoft Flight Simulator to Meyer. I hope I'm saying that one right. Milviz has got the Beaver from Microsoft Flight Simulator product coming soon, so maybe you'll have the chance to get it before everybody else, but you'll certainly get it for free if your name is Carta Jawal, if I said that
Hype Airbus cap.
I apologize if I didn't. 2 more Orbex prizes. This is for anything on the Orbex Direct store. We've got Gibbo Ireland and
Has anybody won anything?
McConnell, or SK McConnell maybe, 361. Congratulations to both of you. We'll talk more about how you can claim those. TFDI Design, winner's choice of any TFDI Design product is Martin. From Big Radios, the P-40B Tomahawk World War II aircraft used by Russia, Australia, England, America. That goes to Biscuit Man. And MK Studios, who's donated a new copy of their Ponta Delgada scenery for Microsoft Flight Sim or P3D and Azores. That goes to Jax Daniels.
Well, I think they're still giving the honeycomb, so you
want
want
to maybe if you haven't done the second round yet, you'll still have another opportunity. We've got 14 more
How to enter pool. So when they have a break,
include the opportunity.
You need to go to that website and you've got like 2 minutes to fill the details in to enter.
Callum, you're back on audio now. How have we managed to make things go on the panel discussion side? And are we ready to go back into the second half?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, free stuff.
We've got a picture of Winfried's ceiling, so I'm not quite sure where he is at the moment. But hopefully we can get some audio come through from him, because I'm sure he's got plenty to say. So it'd be really good to hear it. But,
very good. Well, I'll hand things over to you then for the second half, and we'll do our next prize draw in about half an hour. So we've got 4 questions to go. Good luck, everybody.
No, it's you just keep using the same one. Just keep using the same one, Brett.
Congratulations to those who won some awesome prizes. So we're going to jump
because they haven't put up a different website, have they?
Questions. And again, these have all come from you guys in the community at home. So we've got another question here. So seeing as how the latest sim has a wealth of new technology powering the simulation itself, what future technology or features do you want to see come next in support of your development products in the future? And Edson, we're going to start with you at Parallel 42 on that question.
A yoke, Scott.
If I don't start this response with access to the camera system, I will be attacked. We're known for chase plane, man. We want access to the camera system. We need access to more data points to further enrich the Sky Park. Data. There's still a lot of data that we can't touch with external applications. And I think a lot of that has to do with maintaining an ecosystem in the sim.
Yeah, one entry. So every time they say
running on
the
a
prize is you've
platform
got to
like
enter it, but only
Xbox.
once. So 3 entries,
So
I guess,
the
for the whole
business
night.
case for it,
Morning.
but on the other side of that is the business case for these third-party developers that have been fully embraced and fully showcased to be able to deliver the products we are well known for and established with. Data.
Yeah.
I can, if I can jump in there, I can kind of second that too, as far as the SDKs and stuff. I mean, we've run into limitations in the current sims, and I mean, MSFS is that's a whole other animal. That's a big thing for us too. Is don't put the training wheels on us. Let us have the freedom to do some of these things, because once you take the limitations off, I think some pretty impressive stuff will happen. But then the other side of that, stability. I think as an industry, we're kind of running this way down the street, where our features, I think, and our additions are advancing faster than the stability and reliability and the performance in a lot of areas. And I don't want to see us fall on our faces metaphorically as we get too far, and our feet are too far behind us. So I think I implore anybody that, if Microsoft, you're watching me, or anybody else is listening, please, reliability is a feature.
Do I use anything
Thank
from
you,
Parallel 42? Absolutely.
On that
Yeah,
question
for sure.
Before I start doing some curveballs.
Yeah, if I may, I think that the thing I'm mostly looking forward to is fast bandwidth. I bought myself Starlink, still waiting for it. The fact that Microsoft has been able to stream 2 petabytes of data, in real time, especially with the Xbox, condensing that down. I think it's a really fantastic opportunity now to open up the world to become a digital twin. So this is something that I've been thinking about for some
Starlink
time.
for the win, Brett.
Having this kind of replica of the world, where it's not just about flying, but it's about doing other stuff on land, and really having that engaging experience with AR, sort of fantastic stuff. I guess I sort of tried it many years ago. The technology was just not there. So that is super exciting to know that there will be high bandwidth. We can.
I guess for the developers, Simon, I think where they say the biggest opportunity at the moment, the biggest marketplace is Microsoft Flight Simulator,
and having that
because it's launching on
maybe
Xbox. I think that's probably on top of everybody's
high
mind.
level of realism, that is all over the world. Super. I sign for that right now.
Awesome. So I'm going to just take away the whole Microsoft component from this question.
There we go.
And we're not going to mention specific simulators and stuff, but what technology would you like to see in other platforms that could enable you to send this focus of development away from particularly one platform? Maybe Winfried, if you want to start with that, if your connection's better for us. Okay, cool. Steve, maybe we can jump in with that one on you.
Yeah, so this one, in full transparency, our team is absolutely focused on Microsoft Flight Simulator as a platform, with no immediate plans to go to other platforms. But Edson had mentioned earlier in the stream the portability to other platforms. I would think that would be the biggest advantage for any of us to really embrace these other platforms, would be first the portability, and then second, just they would have to continue to compete with Microsoft Flight Simulator. They either have to be neck and neck, trying to do the same thing, or they need to branch off and really specialize in something like DCS World specializes in the extreme detail and the combat. It would need to be a product that does that for it to
Enter to the
make sense for us to divert resources to other platforms there.
Very good. Sergio, I know you're not a developer per se, but what sort of technology would excite you in these simulators moving forward?
Helicopters.
We knew he was going to say that.
I fed you that. I fed
Yes,
you
you
that.
have. Yes, and I just had to follow that path. But very seriously, I'm not a developer. I don't develop add-ons, but I'm a developer. I have developed software for over 20 years, and I've always been talking with developers and working with developers. I work with a lot of different developers, help them with their products,
DCS
not
and
as a
Microsoft,
developer,
yeah.
but on product development, etc. I wouldn't say that there's a technology that I would like to see on any specific or on in any general sim, but what I would like to see what would be for companies, for the developers of the sims, to start using the tools that are becoming more common. For example, Blender for 3D, other technologies for like Fmod, for example, for sounds, etc., which will probably help a lot in getting your products on other platforms. Just like Steve was saying, it's not what he was saying would be a dream for you to have an ability to migrate your work to other platforms, but we are not going to see that happening, because that would mean that the developers would have to work together, so that there was a format that was pretty common between each other. But if you do have the tools, and if you'd have the plugins, for example, to export a 3D model from the 3D software to X-Plane or to P3D or to Microsoft Flight Simulator or FS2, etc., that would be a huge help. So it would be very nice to see developers starting to adopt those tools, those common tools, that common tier, the bottom tier, so that developers could build from them to the top. That's pretty much it.
I've been thinking about the question, and it's kind of interesting because there was a point in time where the answer to that would have been, to fly over the world and have it be like the real thing below, and satellite imagery everywhere. And yet here we are, right? The future is now. And so we have to push the envelope again, right? As developers, we have to sit and we have to think, and we have to answer that question right there internally. What is it that the people would want to see? Maybe it's a third party that delivers that. Maybe it's a Sobo. Maybe it's Lockheed Martin. Maybe it's Laminar. The future is a really interesting question right now.
Thank you, Joseph.
We've come an incredibly far distance already with this platform. Mm-hmm. I've got no solid answer for that one, man.
Yeah, I think it's helped that technology has, like, the internals of our PCs, the fact we can have this on a gaming console, has helped to that push that.
Yeah, where's next? Where do you go
data
next after
streaming,
this?
and as Anna was mentioning, the fact we can stream in all that data is definitely going to help with the future of that. So I'm going to move on just a little bit from the technology side, and I want to focus a little bit more on the development side. So our next question comes from Flight Sim Geeks. It's a long question, so bear with me. There's a little bit of information beforehand, but all will become clear. So they say Microsoft Flight Sim has created the next generation of developers, some of whom are releasing what experienced simmers might call
Alex, how you doing, mate?
Products.
Maybe better multiplayer connection.
New companies are creating high quality add-ons, and this is very much the focus in the freeware side of things as well, he says. So
controls.
The question I'm going to ask to Steve, obviously with your current your release. So how do you feel about kind of the freeware market? What experience have you had within the freeware market? And do you think this new sim has kind of invoked that freeware, that collaborative approach across the new sim?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think what's happened so far has been great. Anna was kind of commenting earlier on that, the creation of a lot of scenery. I think that the platform itself, just because of the accessibility of the SDK, is obviously spawned this whole new generation of developers. Even us ourselves, we saw with our Airbus H135 as we were creating that, the amount of people joining our Discord, day by day, who created their first scenery for the first time or created their first livery for the first time. So it's great to see that. And I think the other thing too, like we all said earlier, we all start somewhere in this community. So it's great that these people are coming in at the freeware level. Maybe they stay there, or maybe at some point they graduate like us into the payware side. I think the biggest thing though to kind of make out there is that there isn't this exact equation where the dollar or the freeware amount really equates to quality any longer. It really is, you have freeware developers who are exceeding the quality of payware developers sometimes, and then you have the opposite, also happening. So I just think it's really great that we just have the community there available, and that the freeware is in such large quantity, and that there's, great platforms that make that accessible to the community right now.
Absolutely.
But when's it finished? Like Microsoft Flight Simulator is getting flooded with airports. Like, what happens when all the airports have run out? Where do they go?
At Parallel 42, yeah?
I know you can do a lot of airports, but...
We have to deliver awesomeness. We have to focus. And then as this community of developers grew, and as wonderful resources like FlightSim.2 came to be, we started to identify a lot of great talent out there. And it's safe to say now we function with a very open door policy.
They do that now, Scott. They already do that
awesome,
one.
Contact us.
Over at their Twitch.
We're hiring and stuff. We want to identify what these next big things are, who these next big thinkers are, because we want them on our team, right? I think this is the way things are going to advance. That could be a payware developer that exists today and we function as a partner, or it could be some kid in Bolivia that pirated Flight Sim that we're going to make possible for him or her to be able to afford to pay for it and to feed their family by putting them to work. And I'm open to all those scenarios. And I think that really, it boils down to the simple fact that we're seeing a lot of great
not right
quality
now,
out
I don't,
there
Scott.
from both free
Hit me up in Discord,
and
I'll find
from
you
the
the link.
competition in the water and payware.
Someone might be able to put the Twitch.
Amazing.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead, Colin.
I think there's always going to be a space for freeware and, like, any type of user generated market like that. I mean it's the reason that our company even exists. We started off years ago doing freeware work, and it wasn't originally set out to be a big for-profit business or anything. It was the passion first, and I think that the freeware market is a huge part of that. And it's in barrier to, or sorry, it's not. Let me try that again. Let me actually get this out in one continuous sentence here. Sorry. It is a way to get over the barrier into becoming a developer too. And and like Edson is saying, there's a lot of talent that ends up becoming potentially partners, or employees, or even just colleagues and friends in the
Trains
industry.
are happening. I think trains are
huge.
scheduled for 2022 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or 2023.
Definitely. There's kind of a few follow-up questions within this, so I want to just bring them out to the table and see if anyone has any comments. So I'm going to direct this one to you, Anna, because I think this is quite an interesting one. So obviously you guys at Orbex released the Optica, as you mentioned at the very beginning of the panel. A couple weeks, I think maybe even a few months before that, a freeware version of the same aircraft type was released, and I've seen it so many times. Why is there two of the same thing within this niche community? But from your perspective, what do you guys do to justify the fact yours is a payware versus the fact there are freeware ones out there?
Yeah, well, first of all, we had started developing the Optica long before the freeware was launched. And so we were halfway through and we said, there is a free version. It's the same with Innsbruck, for example. It's one of the premium airports in the Microsoft simulator. And, Jared was our developer on it. We kind
hey, host Dad, how you doing?
About whether we should, you should do a version for that, and he did, and it's payware, and it's very successful. So I don't think that. I think that freeware is so. First of all, freeware is also a try before you buy sometimes. So Orbex has got a lot of freeware because you just kind of. You see how things are and what the quality is. So I'm in favor of that. You kind of learn skills, and and you get better. So we had lots of developers that started to do freeware that started working for us. Like I think Colin was saying this earlier. In terms of the having two copies of the same, well, there are lots of handbags in the world, and
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Female topics, but like Louis Vuitton, you kind of get a lot of imitations, and you get the real thing, and you get the the free thing, and I think it's. I honestly, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's just just different style of the same thing, and things get just executed differently. So I don't have any issues. I don't have any issues about other people doing the stuff that we do as well. Because it has happened. So there are some
creates competition. It means that the payware developers need to up so that
okay. As I said,
people are getting
world,
quality and paying for what they're getting for. So it's good.
So I want to get your take. Sorry, go on, Edson.
Go ahead.
I have Simon.
I was just going to ask Sergio for his take from like a community leader standpoint on the freeware payware argument.
Well, I was kind of grinding, laughing at the beginning, and I think Edson was as well, because you touched the point here with that question that is really important and is really interesting, which is something that I have been publicly talked about it as well, which is the fact that, first of all, this payware versus freeware thing, it's nothing. It's again nothing new. It's something that we always had in the community, and some people just want to use payware. People just want to use freeware. You have freeware with as much quality, as good as a quality as payware products, etc. So you have a mix of everything. And like Anna just said, there are a lot of different shoes in the world. There are a lot of different handbags in the world. So it's a matter of everyone picking up what they want to pick up and use what they want to use. But there's something that I really need to talk about and I really need to address. And I'm not going to take a lot of time with this, but I think it's kind of a byproduct of what's happening with Microsoft Flight Simulator and the fact that we have a lot of people coming into the sim. And Edson is smiling already. He knows what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, I'll back you up on this.
Thanks, man. Peter. No, I didn't get asked.
I'm not going to
be
talk
on the
about
panel.
specific companies or specific products, but we have had quite a few payware products out there. There are just absolutely terrible. They are just
That's
terrible
true.
products.
That is so true.
And,
the stuff that shouldn't be charged.
Some companies, some teams, some developers are just taking.
I did, Simon. I did like the
They
preview.
are
Yes.
taking advantage of this new huge amount of people coming into flight simulation. And
Karis,
I
absolutely
cannot
agree with you on
any
that.
way except saying that they are taking advantage, because these are people that they don't know better. They don't know better. Probably they are new into the market. They don't know products. They see a 3D model and they think, okay, this is cool, and this is very beautiful. I want to use this in the sim, but it ends up being products of very poor quality. Real poor quality.
Yeah, that's an issue, Brett.
And again, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen absolutely terrible things, and a lot of people have pointed me to blatant, and even in the 3D model, there are some very, very ugly errors that are just, it's impossible for someone that actually takes more than 30 seconds looking at it, don't see it. So, not against payware, not against freeware, I think both work together, but please, people, when you are buying these products, just take a look at what you're buying and ask the community about them. Yeah. Because we cannot let these companies, these teams, these people just take advantage of our community, of you guys that are jumping into flight simulation because you enjoy aviation and you enjoy flying the sims and you are starting to enjoy the community. Please ask us, what is it that we think that the guys that are on the community for longer think about the product before you put any money on it, because you may be getting ripped off. That is the only comment that I wanted to do about this payware thing.
I think it's survival instinct, right? You see the market today, and there are some names that should be big players.
Hey, Becky Davis, how you doing?
And they're not. Some are not present. Some are partially present. It's a survival instinct. When we decided to pivot the Skypark over, it was a concept of, here are your Lego blocks. What can you build? What can you build with this new platform to survive? We can't bring Chase Plane, our number one app, our number one food, application to eat every day to pay the rent. We can't bring that over. What do? And some captains go down with the ship, and some captains grab a bucket and start shoveling water out with the crew. We did that. We decided internally we have to stay afloat, and we fought to stay afloat, and we pivoted our business model to stay afloat. We're not bringing you immersion packages. We can't. We're bringing you aircraft. We're going to bring you scenery. We're bringing you utilities. We can't bring you a camera system. We pivoted. And I think that it really boils down to survival instinct and how people decide to survive.
Let me just, I'm sorry, I don't want to take the whole time here, but just let me say something to Edson here. I don't think it's just the instinct to survive, because I understand what was it that you were talking about, but there are developers out there that they didn't even have a business before. They are entering the market, and they are bringing absolutely terrible products to market.
Yeah, that's true, Scott. That's a good one.
Yeah,
like an approved badge.
I know it is. Yeah.
I like that idea.
That's the thing. So it's not even, I understand what you're saying. I agree with what you say, but it's not just that. So, sorry, Callum.
No, this is exactly why I'm just here to moderate and guide you. And Edson guided us very nicely and cleanly onto the next question, which I think is what a lot of people are very interested to know, and that is kind of what your next 6 months looks like. Whether
there
that
we
be
go.
for the simulator you're going to develop for, or
hey,
specific products you want to talk about.
Oh, we're just restreaming this
with
Orbex, so
short on time at this point. But also, if you could touch on why you chose that path, or why you chose that scenery or aircraft, just within a couple of sentences. And if Anna, we can start with you and what the next 6 months for Orbex looks like.
Well, we published our roadmap some time ago, so it's sort of, with little variations, we're sort of trying to stick to that. So we've got a number of cities coming up. The cities, especially, we do think that some of the cities really benefit from that kind of handmade touch, sort of crafted. So we craft that very carefully. Obviously, with the Xbox coming up, we've got a few products that we have optimized, all of the LODs.
Have optimized. So the word is have. So they must be ready to go, guys.
Just give a big
must be ready to go.
Ben, my technology guy. We've got Volanta, which is our flight tracker. So that is quite a different. Yeah, see, Edson loves that. We love that tool. It's really a great platform for us to build on. So that's free. We're about to launch a premium version, which will have some really kind of fancy stuff coming up. But I think it's a fantastic platform that unites the community. It kind of makes it, I think very
you will need to re-enter.
I hope addictive as well, to just come back and kind of look
when
at
they do the next one.
And, we've got
you have to enter each time.
System, a point system over there, and we're just really trying to listen to what people are saying and trying to make products as fast as we can and maintaining quality at the same time, which is kind of hard. We also, our marketplace has kind of grown very well. So we've got lots of partners, and we love the partners. Some of them have got phenomenal products that we really love to spruik. And so we just continue to do that.
Thank you very much. An exciting 6 months coming up for Orbex then. Let's jump over to Colin and what you guys are up to.
Well, I'll answer the burning question first. As far as the products are concerned, I know we're trying to put the MD-11 fully in sim. I'd say 6 months is a loose term, but I know we're pushing really hard to see that realized, hopefully in both P3D and MSFS. of course, continuing to work with the community on.
We probably won't see the
packs and
MD11
where it's
until
supposed
next
to be
year in
and
Microsoft.
Smart Car 3 and all that. And Anna actually touched on it too. There are some new, I think, vendor opportunities too out there in the marketplace, and the new sim kind of opens doors for us that I think we'd like to try to explore too. So hopefully a big, as much of a presence as we can establish in MSFS and further refining our products.
And if you could, in one sentence, tell us why you chose the MD-11 as your current aircraft.
Well, the semi-sarcastic answer is how could we not? It just made sense. That's my answer. It just made sense. Shared a lot of code, shared a lot of knowledge with stuff we already had. It was requested heavily by a lot of our community and customers, and I think it checked a lot of boxes for everybody.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to
Steve,
that.
We're going to jump down to you. Obviously, you've talked about the helicopters you're working on. Is that kind of within the next 6 months for you? And, you know, again, the same question. How did you get to decide that in one sentence?
Yeah, so probably within the next 6 months. Of course, next month we have the first of our 3 Airbus H145 variants releasing.
Inbounds.
The the decision behind that was just from the community, really. The feedback that we got regarding our freeware H135 was that people wanted to see a higher quality visual model reproduced, as well as us to go deeper into the system. So that's where that whole decision to go payware came from, is just to increase the quality of both of those items there. And then after that, you know, we do have our next project lined up for what we'll be doing after the Airbus H145. Not ready to yet announce that, but it's kind of in line with just what we're known for, which is just pushing the boundaries of what's able to be done in the sim. And we've listened to the community. There's a lot of features out there that people still want to see that aren't in the sim yet. So we're going to try to tackle something, another challenge after this.
Yeah, Ben, every time they do it.
I know one person in particular who'd be very excited for what you've got coming up. So I just want to go over to Edson now. I know you've spoken a little bit about kind of your future plans, but is there anything more specific you want to talk about for the next half year?
Yeah, so the Sky Park continues active development. You could say that it's sitting in the foreground. Kevin is carrying that forward by leaps and bounds on the back end, and then slowly we're going to start releasing some bigger feature sets to the public. We're happy to announce Raul from FS Reborn joining the team in a more official capacity to help us continue to expand into the aircraft space. When we bid off the project of creating Freedom Fox in conjunction with Trent Palmer, little did we know how much it would actually take to create and fully QA an aircraft. And let me tell you, wow, it ate up some time. So we're kind of spinning off some of these duties onto Raul. He's going to help us take things to the next level. As you know, a recent announcement that Got Gravel's actually doing the tuning. So it's nice to have kind of a tuner inside our doors as well. Then we've got some interesting projects coming next that'll have you guys floating over the moon. And then we have some scenery as well. So there's some scenery in the works that we think is going to be very exciting. And yeah, we're excited to kind of pivot into a couple new things in the next 6 to 12 months.
Very exciting indeed. And Sergio, I've kind of left you to last because these other guys are developers as such, and I'm just curious as to see what your next 6 months looks like as a community leader and what you're planning on doing with like your website and your Facebook groups.
It's easier for me, right? It's just a matter of continuing to do the work that I've been doing for the last 5 years and continue to try and grow and foster the community. But at the same time, I'm also working with some teams that are developing things for Microsoft Flight Simulator as well on the background, which we should have some news in a few weeks.
There's too many, Paul. There's too many.
Some interesting stuff going on there as well. Community-wise, it's just a matter of continuing to do the work. It's just we have a good community, good people. Like Edson once said, we are not afraid to moderate. So we do moderate and we do keep things tidy so that everyone can enjoy the community and help each other. And that's what we are going to do not just for the next 6 months, but hopefully for the next years. The community is going to grow. Hopefully, it's going to expand. Helicopters will eventually reach
in Dubai.
Reach nice. Or arrive to Microsoft Flight Simulator, at least natively, because right now we have people like Steve and the team and the other guys that I have talked about, and some other companies and some other teams working on them as well. But they are going to reach to get into Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Speculation?
So
they're just going to keep improving their sims. They make all their money from the government, so the military government.
Fantastic.
So they're still gonna be around for a long time.
Wraps up all the time we have for this cross-community discussion. Before I hand over back to Evan, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody on the call today, as well as Aerosoft. Unfortunately, Winfried had some.
This is cool.
Issues,
hopefully they do more of this.
Try and get some of the answers from him and try and publish that in some capacity, because I think what he has to say will probably be very exciting indeed. So thank you so much for everyone who's participating. My name is Callum from the FS Elite team, and Evan, I'm going to hand the reins back over to you.
You're welcome, Scott.
Very good. Thank you very much to Callum and to the panel.
All right, guys, they're going to do the last lot of giveaways, so you need to
we are going into
re-enter.
Our third and final contest draw, so go ahead and enter that right now. FlightSimAssociation.com/contest. This will be the third and final opportunity to win a number of prizes. We're going to be drawing 14 of them in just a moment as we wrap up today's stream. So go ahead and put your names and emails in, FlightSimAssociation.com/contest.
Yeah,
I will echo what Callum had to say about Aerosoft. Winfried sends his apologies and regrets that he couldn't be here, but I have some information for you. He wanted to be able to just communicate around that last question specifically and share what does the future look like for Aerosoft. So he says Aerosoft is working on many new airports, airliners, and a few tools, specifically the CRJ-9 and 1000 soon. The
looking for that. That's going to be out soon.
Coming up for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and the Twin Otter, also for Microsoft Flight Simulator, are on their top priorities list. And I also asked the question, would you say the focus is Microsoft Flight Simulator over P3D or X-Plane for Aerosoft right now? And the answer was yes, waiting for a little bit more development for X-Plane, like a potential future version, before we start to really prioritize that. And at the moment,
that's interesting inside news is they're sort of holding the development on X-Plane for a new version.
WhatsApp
which makes
conversation
sense.
With Winfried, and hey, that's the fun of doing these things live.
Spend 12 months developing, and then a new platform
just a
comes
moment
out.
As we go and wrap things up today. So let's go ahead and bring those back up on the screen. As I said, 14 prizes as we wrap up today's session.
Best of luck,
so
everybody. If
go.
you win something, let us know in the chat.
I'd
love to see if anybody here.
Have a downloadable product off the Aerosoft store. That's Hunky Arizona. TFTI winner's choice goes to Finds the Lost. Milviz King Air for Prepared, P3D airplane making its way in here to New Holland 079. Two more Orbex products. Those go to Boston 492 and Spot Ollie. MK Studios has donated 2 scenery products. We've got Keflavik for either P3D or Microsoft Flight Sim going to Dr. Wigglespank. And for Dublin, P3D or Microsoft Flight Simulator to Jack B. So congratulations to you. I said 14, that's not 14. So here we go. We've got even more. Parallel 42 came
let's
in
go
under
for
the
the Trent Palmer Freedom
last night,
Fox.
so I want to get on this. So here we go. 2 giveaways for the Sky Park. Those are John Horde and Evasion. Congratulations to both of you. That's a really cool add-on to check out if you haven't seen it before. And Trent Palmer's Freedom Fox, which is not out yet, but as soon as it does release, the following 4 people: Burley Sane, Kian the Gamer on Twitch, Chrissy, and Just Yarn.
Here we
go.
Will
be some of the first people to get that.
Anybody wins flight controls, best of luck to you.
So super exciting stuff. And as we get set to wrap things up today,
he's going to hold it off.
Notes from me. Firstly, we'd love to do more of these if people like them. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I hope you're looking for more. And if that's the case, what you could do to really help us out, if you're watching this with any of the content creator broadcast partners that signed on today, please give them some feedback. Hopefully, if you're
let us know if
one
you
of those people I
do
mentioned,
more of this,
if you're
I'll pass it on.
hosting us today on YouTube or Twitch, just have a chat with your viewers. Tell me what they have to say. Did you like having this developer chat right over here? Was that helpful? Did you enjoy enjoy the format and the questions that we answered, would you prefer a live Q&A?
What's a
We'd just love to hear
suspense?
thoughts.
I have no idea.
So
I mean,
please
a suspense.
tell the content creators, and content creators, please tell me, so we can roll that into a future potential session just like this one. And developers,
how do I claim my prize? They're going to send you an email.
Developer chat right there.
Did you win
and
something
you want
invasion?
to be next time, send me a message on Discord, reach out to me via email, and we'd love to get you involved in that way as well. And of course, in the next webinar that we have coming up, whenever we decide to do something like this one again. We've got coming up next week on July the 29th an X-Plane webinar. So we were talking a lot about Flight Simulator, Microsoft today. X-Plane is going to be talking about their feature live from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, coming up next week on Flight Sim Association. If you're interested,
developers chat is too small to read. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I guess
Brett.
I was supposed to say something about maybe a honeycomb yoke. Was that?
Eagle One, how are you, mate?
Okay, honeycomb yoke. Yes, the grand prize from
finishing
today.
up soon.
Aviation,
you did win, mate. Congratulations.
Someone
well done.
has the ability
They're going to send you an email.
Please insert that now.
In the next, and you've got to reply in the next 3 days. Within the next 3 days or something like that.
Is Yusuf K12.
Whoa,
so
congratulations to
you.
Yusuf.
Huge prize that'll get shipped right to your home, we hope. And so a huge thank you to you, and really to everyone else for putting up with me today and listening to the great conversation from our panelists. Again, we'd love to do some more of this, so if folks enjoyed it, share that with your content creator partners and make sure you give them some great feedback for us. Lots of thank yous as we wrap up. Orbex, Elise, and the entire team there for the Fly July promotion this month. So grateful we could make this work. Callum from FS Elite for moderating, the developer chat for being around with us today, those broadcast partners on Twitch and YouTube. Huge thank you to you guys. You help us get the message out there. Our wonderful panelists, prize donors, and from all of us who are here today, from behalf of the panelists, Phil, my colleague
Simon,
Phil,
you need to go over to.
Thank you so much. Good night, and hopefully we will see you at
Flight Simulations Association, and you can join their stuff there.
We hope to see you online. Thank you very much.
The same one as the contest link. I'll put it in there. That's their website.
'84 flaps cut up, pull off, and shut off. Masters, crack my door, and emergency button.
There we go. Now that was quite interesting. And obviously it's from a developer standpoint, but you can see there's many developers obviously shifting their business models over to Microsoft Flight Simulator because that's where the market's going for them at the moment. So I think a lot of them are crying out that they just don't have the stuff they need to make great products. So I'd love to see some Parallel 42's stuff over in the new sim, like Chase Plane. Come on. Oh, you going to fly down? No, Mario. I've had 3 hours sleep between the last flight. I will be posting when we'll be streaming tonight. It might be in an earlier session because I'm flying tomorrow morning, and I'll need to get some more sleep tonight than what I did last night. So. No, so and plus Mrs. Oz Flight Simmer there is oh, there we go. Up next we're going to be playing Oz Flight Simmer videos. We need to stop that. We need to have breakfast with the family because it is 7:38 in the morning, so I want to go and have breakfast with the family. But guys, we will be streaming some Xbox later on. Maybe this afternoon, maybe tonight. I'll let you guys know in a few hours once I get, yeah, copyright. Let's go and put a thing in. But a big thank you for everybody joining us. I'm assuming they're going to do some more of these things. If you like to see other different type of content like this stuff, I don't know, maybe we can organise our own. We'll see what happens. But. And if you missed it and you're new into Xbox, you're welcome to go and watch last night's stream as we did do a bit of a test drive on the Xbox release, which we'll do again tonight. So. Alright, thank you, Mario. Well, the Bell helicopter's in the sim. Yeah, it's not modeled. Well, I guess they say it's modeled correctly because they've gone and done their own flight model. So, Nathaniel, no worries, mate. Absolutely, it's all good. Nice. It's nice way to wake up in the morning and go and listen to the guys. Because I tell you what, Microsoft Flight Simulator, they've got their development roadmap. They know what they're doing. But in my honest opinion, it's these guys that we spoke to tonight. Not, there's obviously a small majority of them. but they're the ones that are kept flight simulation live for the last 10 years, and they're going to do the same. They will do the same. So, all right, guys, we've been saying that I better go. Thank you very much. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. We will see you a little bit later, and Drop Bears, I'll catch you on Discord, I guess. So everybody, have a good one. Catch you later.